And welcome back to Mountain Connections, everyone. I'm your host, Nick O'Kane, and I am joined by the co-founder of the Utah Athletic Center, Reed Carlson. Reed, thank you so much for coming on and having a little chat with me.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
Of course. Now, before we get into anything, Utah Athletic Center is a new facility that's growing every year. Tell us a little bit about the facility out in Bountiful, Utah.
Yeah, we built the facility because we needed a dedicated place to host volleyball tournaments. We've just started doing volleyball 13, 14 years ago, and one of the needs that we had in Utah was we needed a bigger facility. And so what we had our main facility kind of in a warehouse, and then we tried to run tournaments, but you couldn't really fit everybody. And
right,
so
it's hard.
We decided that it would be beneficial to create something that was a lot bigger. And so we created a 65,000 square foot, has 12 volleyball courts. We can convert into basketball courts and do other things. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great project.
Which is unique because Utah doesn't really have that much space. Some of the other things I've seen, something like that is the Salt Palace Convention Center that they do makeshift courts, very similar. But for you guys to have an off-site facility on your own, which is really nice because traffic can be really crazy downtown. So for you guys to have your own facility, I know that's really huge. Especially allows for very competitive volleyball, basketball tournaments to come to you guys.
Yeah, it's been fun. Every weekend during this time we have a volleyball tournament every Saturday, and we've been able to host a bunch of basketball tournaments. And so from that standpoint, it's been a lot of fun to see the high level of competition kind of come into our backyard.
Very nice. And not only are we talking about the facility itself, we're talking about mental health and wellness today. And you have a specific teaching strategy that you have with up and coming kids and their growth as an athlete. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I guess when we got involved in the coaching, we spent so much time on just technique and some strategy. And what we realized was that's great. I mean, you can't be successful if you don't develop the technique. You can't be successful if you don't have the strategy and the physical capability. But what we really found out was that the way that the athletes were thinking, the way that they were approaching everything that they were doing was what made somebody successful. You look at two athletes and with the same coaching opportunities, the same practice opportunities, and we were seeing some athletes excelling, getting way further ahead than others, and it became fascinating to us as to why that was happening. And the more that we kind of broke it down, what we realized was some athletes were taking into their lives a lot more of the mental training that we were trying to provide. They were taking those lessons and kind of figuring out how to apply that a little bit more seriously than others. And as a result of that, just progressed a lot more.
And that's huge, especially for athletes growing at a certain age. When you're a child, you just want to go out there and play. But when you get to a certain level, you kind of have to realize, okay, what's next? You can obviously learn, the best skills, the best technique, but to take your mental status to the highest level, that's really what is going to excel you, especially when you get to a collegiate level or professional level. Half of it is mental. Everyone is on the same skill level as you. It's those who are willing to take the harder steps in life to get farther. And that's everything when you really look at it. Professional athletes, they have to go through so many tough challenges every day. And half of it is not even playing the sport itself. It's dealing with outside life, their families, businesses itself. So for you, what type of experience have you and Matt had that helped share this information with all your athletes?
So I think one of the greatest things that we kind of understood, like what you said, is that challenge is a part of the equation. You can't avoid pain. You can't avoid discomfort from anything. I mean, it's just when you decide what pains you want to accept in your life is where you'll really understand where you're going to go. And I think that's kind of the experience that we've had, is recognizing that there are some of those athletes who are accepting the pain of discipline. And as a result of accepting that pain of discipline, they are getting the benefits of discipline, if that makes sense. And so, but what we've realized is that it's training them on a chemical level to accept that pain. So it's a kind of a three-step process for us, is the moment that they accept that the pain is necessary, right? Whatever that pain is. Okay, and then they have to become familiar with it. It's kind of like the frog in the boiling pot, right?
Right,
If it's overwhelming to them, they're going to jump out. But if they familiarize themselves with that discomfort on a daily basis, they get used to it. They can withstand a whole lot more, and then they have to be willing to tolerate it. That means it's completely in their awareness that I fully accept the fact that I am going through this pain, and then I'm not going to complain about it.
Right.
And so by doing so, it takes the stress hormones away from getting them into their fight or flight, patterns, and it puts them into remaining in their frontal lobe. So every time that they are training, they are solving problems.
Yep.
And the thing is, we're not void of problems. It's just what kind of problems do we want to have in our lives.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of what we've have discovered through this process, is getting them to be really familiar, so that way they're getting a dopamine fix. They're getting their pleasure from conquering challenges, as opposed to running away from them and then dealing with the consequences of running away from them later.
And I remember that was a really big thing for me, because I suffered from really bad anxiety growing up playing sports, and I tried fighting it for the longest of times, and it would affect my outcome when I would play hockey and lacrosse. And when I finally became familiarized with the anxiety, I let it go. And I was able to break through, and eventually I just didn't even think about it anymore. And it was coming to the point where I nearly got rid of my entire anxiety, because all I focused on was playing the game itself and being a stronger person because of it. And not only that, that helped me outside of sports. That helped me in life. And that's really the biggest thing. Not only are we preparing these kids for higher athletic levels, but higher advancements in life, and getting them through college and getting them into the professional sports. So that's a really big thing that you guys are doing over there.
Yeah.
For anyone that wants to learn more about the Utah Athletic Center, where can they go?
They can go to our website, utahathleticcenter.com. They can email Matt or myself, Reed, R-E-E-D, at clubvvolleyball.com, Matt, M-A-T-T, at clubvvolleyball.com. We are offering mindset courses this summer. We offer different camps for basketball, for soccer, for volleyball. So there's a whole lot going on, and so you can find most of that stuff on our website. And then obviously for any kind of coaching, they reach out to us via email, and then we do that.
Well, Reed, thank you so much. I know you and Matt have put in so much time and work into this, so we will gladly have to come out there and check out the Athletic Center for ourselves, and come talk to you guys some more.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you, Reed, very much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Mountain Connections. Please stay tuned, because we'll be back after the commercial break.